Okay, three. Three. Uh, hey, how's it going out there in YouTube world? My name's Shard. This is 1 Foot of Books. This is pretty much the never-ending bookshelf tour of my collection behind me and around me. Today is part of a recurring series I call the Busted Ass Paperback Editions. I got a lot of paperbacks, a lot of old ones, and yeah, today I just grabbed a stack, 1 foot worth, 30 centimeters worth of busted ass paperbacks from my collection. So welcome to the Busted Ass Paperbacks. Yeah, it's a bit of a wide selection today. I'm gonna start right at the top here, so it saves me from pulling books from out from under. Bertrand Russell, In Praise of Idleness. Easily one of my favorite philosophy writers. Bertrand Russell produced an astounding body of work, one could say. And this is easily one of my favorite philosophy books, and just like an exploration of thought. And I got it when I was in my kind of idler phase, when I was reading the magazine and kind of getting into all that kind of history around it, around the importance of being idle and yeah, not taking things too seriously, or just taking things easy, because man, there's more than enough people taking things hard for you. Taking things Bertrand Russell, In Praise of Idleness. A great book. If you ever see a copy, and you know, it's fun. I won't say it's easy, but it's not hard. But it's super fun read. Doesn't justify laziness, anything like that, but it just reinforces the idea of just like you gotta be at peace with being at peace sometimes, and just doing nothing at all, whatever that means to you. It's like asking, well, do you believe in God? It's like, do you believe in nothing? It's different things to different people. Yeah, full of great insight. I love this one. From page 33 of the chapter, Useless Knowledge. The amusements of modern urban populations tend more and more to be passive and collective, and to consist of inactive observation of the skilled activities of others. Undoubtedly, such amusements are much better than none, but they are not as good as would be those of a population which had, through education, a wider range of intelligent interests not connected with work. Better economic organization, allowing mankind to benefit by the productivity of machines, should lead to a very great increase of leisure, and much leisure is apt to be tedious except to those who have considerable intelligent activities and interests. If a leisured population is to be happy, it must be an educated population, and must be educated with a view to mental enjoyment as well as the direct usefulness of technical knowledge. Yeah, and that was written, when did he write this? This is back in the 30s, 1935. So for nigh on 90 years, longer than that, people have been saying, when we get more machines that can do our work, we get to have more leisure. But the opposite is happening. We're getting more and more machines. We're working more hours than ever. I know we are here in Australia, at least. And we're getting paid less for that time. And leisure times, I don't know, it's just the weekend. Most people just drink themselves into oblivion until Monday. You know, or stare at a screen. You know, I do more often than not. What do you want me to do? Go and connect with people. Praise of Idleness, Bertrand Russell. Next in the series of the Busted Ass Paperback editions, this is a copy of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Both books Written by, of course, Mark Twain. This is a 1979 Signet Classic edition. I got this from, I believe it was from the Salvation Army in Marrickville, when I was living in Marrickville. And my exercise for this was I read out, I think half of it. I think I read The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. I read it out loud in a southern North American accent. Not a South American accent, a southern North American accent. And I read it out loud when my flatmate wasn't, and of course, although I might have read some to them at some point. I don't know, I can't remember. Yeah, but yeah, that was fun. Great book. Well, very well written. Mark Twain, I'm a big fan of Mark Twain. And yeah, if you want to practice your Southern North American accent, go through, just read it out loud. It's fun. It's such a fun little book. Mahreshi Yogi, the book on transcendental meditation. This is, I think this might be a first edition paperback. It's not a first edition. It was published back in '63. This edition is from 1968. And it's in surprisingly good condition for something so old and that was such a hot commodity back in the 60s. Transcendental meditation. I was ripped off to shreds by this book. I think I paid like $30 for it. And it's wrapped in plastic. It's not a great edition. Like it's in alright condition, but I paid $30 for it, and I didn't really acknowledge that I paid $30 for it at the time. And I was like, it was later in the day. I was just like, well, how much did I spend at that shop? And I only bought like 3 books, and yeah, they overcharged me for this or something. I don't know. As with transcendental meditation, you can only get to a point before you have to get a mantra, which you usually have to pay money for. I read it up to that point. Haven't felt like getting the mantra. I hear lots of good things about transcendental meditation. I do meditate, but I've not gone down the transcendental path yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I should this year. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll fork out some money, get myself a mantra. It's like $1,000 or something. I could be wrong. If you're a transcendental, if you're a TMer, let me know. If you're a TMer and you want to sponsor me because I'm poor, you're more than welcome for me to get a mantra, which will probably just be like Om. I don't know. That seems cool. I want to delve into it more. But I just read up to the point where they say you must have a mantra. You have to go to a center and get one and start learning from another person. And I'm like, all right. I'll just keep meditating, doing my thing, man. I got that from a tiny little bookshop called Anne's Books in Kaitaia in New Zealand, where I'm from. And yeah, they ripped me off for it. Anne's Books is no longer around, but I did love going there. I got some good books from that little shop in the busted ass paperback end of nowhere. Yeah, this one, and there's another one in my collection that I'm very happy to have that I got at that shop. But yeah, that'll come up in another probably busted ass paperback edition of this show, One Foot of Books. Fingerprints of the Gods, Graham Hancock. He's getting a lot of attention of late because of that Netflix series he did of Ancient Apocalypse. I've been I wouldn't say a follower, I would say a bit of a fan of Hancock's since the 90s. I think after this book came out, I heard a lot about it. I didn't get around to reading it until much, much later. And by then, I'd kind of already explored a lot of the topics that he covers in this book. This is from 1990-something, 91, 92 maybe? Where is it? Come on. Graham Hancock available there. There we go. 1995. This one's from 1997. yeah, it's not a very tidy edition. Probably just picked it up at a Salvo's or a Vinnie's. Yeah. Hancock, I don't know. He's a victim of his own success now. I think he had a lot more credibility, as it were, when he was pumping out awesome books like this, and um, not so in your face, like getting on Rogan and talking for 18 hours and getting wasted, and like, you know, I liked him when he was kind of at this stage, writing his books, getting his ideas out there. But now it's all gone mainstream, man. I don't know. So the thing when things get popular, like, you know, I don't know. You know, it's an important book in the whole pseudoscience, alternative, speculative history thing, and it's a good book, well worth a read. It explores a lot of cool topics. You just got to take it all with a very hefty grain of salt, especially now that Hancock's getting a lot of attention. There's even a bookmark in here from the 1999 April 15th edition of the Daily Telegraph. Oh, it's TV listings. Someone obviously used it as a bookmark, not me, but yeah, there you go. David Mamet. True and false. Whoa, true and false. Sounds like a Discordian thing. Heresy and common sense for the actor. I've read a little bit of this. I do love me a bit of David Mamet. A very man's man playwright, screenwriter. I've read a little bit of this, not too much, and that was a long time ago. I found this at the Reverse Garbage Shop in Marrickville. Yeah, I like him. I like his movies. I've never seen any of his plays except the filmed ones. Glengarry Glen Ross. Something else. American Buffalo. That was a good movie of one of his plays. And The Spanish Prisoner, which I don't think was a play, but an original screenplay by him, with Steve Martin. And who's the other guy in The Spanish Prisoner? Not Timothy Hutton. God, it's been so long since I've seen it. I loved The Spanish Prisoner. Such a cool movie. I want to see it again, but there's nowhere streaming. Nowhere. Without paying for it, probably. Cool book, especially if you're an actor, stage actor, screen actor. David Mamet. Can't go wrong, really. This is the epitome of a busted ass paperback. The Diamond Age. Neil Stephenson. First read The Diamond Age. Must have been back in the mid-2000s, 2005. I was recommended to Neil Stephenson by my friend Zev, who I was working with. And he was a big fan of sci-fi and fantasy, and he loved the Stephen Donaldson books. And I tried reading Lord Fowle's Bane. I couldn't really get into it, and there's like thousands of those books. And but he did recommend The Diamond Age by Neil Stephenson. And I think this is the second or third copy I've had. It's got no back cover. I think my daughter ripped it off when she was like 1. It's not a great edition. So it's The Diamond Age, or A Young Lady's Illustrated Primer. An awesome look at the future when nanotech has just kind of like taken over and enmeshed itself with humans. And this young kind of... like a slum rat gets this book that was meant for one of the elite rich daughters, and it helps raise her and educate her, and she uses it to do all sorts of cool stuff by the end, and it kind of shadows her and the girl it was meant for on their journey through life, and what happens to the girl who was meant to get it, and what happens to the girl who does get it. Yeah, cool book. Neil Stephenson, he's a great, what's that word? It's hard sci-fi writer. I'd call him a heavy sci-fi writer. His books just get longer as he's gotten older. Like the more numbers that he adds to his age, the more numbers he adds to the book pages. Diamond Age is awesome. Snow Crash is awesome. He started getting really tough after Diamond Age. I made it through about 3/4 of Anathem. Maybe like 100 pages of Quicksilver. he's massive, massive. You have to be very dedicated to read a Neil Stephenson book these days. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just kind of a lazy reader. Maybe I should just get back into Neil Stephenson. I got that, I think, at the Salvos at Tempe Tip, in Tempe, Sydney, New Zealand. Andrew Thomas. He was a guy I was introduced to when I was writing for New Dawn magazine here in Australia. And he was an Australian, I think, Ukrainian or Russian guy. And he wrote these books kind of like as was popular back in the time, like the Von Daniken kind of thing, Fingerprints of the Gods. Just like a bunch of cool, interesting stuff set out in book form. And I've got a few of his books. This one's all about Shambhala, the lost city in the Himalayas, and what it means and what it could mean, and if it's real or is it all just Shambhala's within us, man, you know. And Andrew Thomas was a cool writer. I liked his books. I do like his books. I don't see them around too often. I've got about 3 or 4 of them. He writes about UFOs and ancient mysteries and stuff like that. And again, when I read this, I obviously was filling out one of these little pages that I used to do. I'd fold up a page and just write little notes. So have I dated this? When did I start this? I don't think I dated it. No. Let's read what I've written down. Page 34. Emperor Asoka, India, 273 BC, the 9 unknown men. Page 76. No man is a prophet in his own country. 78. Description of the great work. That's capital G, capital W. There is a way of manipulating matter and energy so as to produce what modern science calls a field of force. This field acts on the observer and puts him in a privileged position vis-a-vis the universe. From this position, he has access to the realities which are ordinarily hidden from us by time and space, matter and energy. This is, when's this edition from? It looks like it to be from the late 70s, early 80s. 1977. First edition. There you go. Nice. This is a book I got at a Salvos at some point. Cows, Pigs, Wars and Witches, The Riddles of Culture by Marvin Harris. One of America's leading anthropologists, offers solutions to the perplexing question of why people behave the way they do. Wow. All in 235 pages. I haven't read this book. I think I might have flipped through it at some point. It's 1974 edition. Oh no, sorry, 1978 edition of a 1974 first published. Just explores stuff in our culture. Pig lovers and pig haters. Why some people like pigs, some people don't. Phantom cargo. I think that's like around cargo cults. Broomsticks and sabbats. The Great Witch Craze. The Savage Male Primitive War. Messiahs. Yeah. Why do Hindus worship cows? Why do Jews and Muslims refuse to eat pork? Why did so many people in post-medieval Europe believe in witches? And why have witches managed to stage such a successful comeback in today's popular culture? Marvin Harris. Cows, Pigs, Wars and Witches. Cows, Pigs, Wars and Witches. I need a sip of coffee. How's your day going? Oh, delicious. Ray Bradbury, The Golden Apples of the Sun. From the back cover, here for the connoisseur, for the devotee of the SF genre, and those who like their reading to combine excitement with good writing, is the Corgi SF Collector's Library, a series that brings in uniform edition many of the greats of SF, standard classics, contemporary prize winners, and controversial fiction, fantasy, and fact. Have I read any of this? I haven't read any of this, no. This is a 1973 edition. Corgi SF Collector's Library. I think I've got the same edition in Canticle for Leibowitz. This is first published back in 1953, so it would have been all stories from Bradbury's 40s and 50s periods. Yeah, haven't read it. I've read some of Bradbury's stuff, but not a lot. I think I got that. Salvo's Miracle. James Churchwood, The Lost Continent of Mu. This is a divisive book. James Churchwood was a former British Army captain or something, and he was stationed in India. Reckons he found a temple with a vault full of stuff that he decoded, and it talked about the lost continent of Mu, which I think was in the Pacific, and sank, kind of like Atlantis. There's not a lot of credibility in his story, and so much of the stuff has been debunked, but it hasn't stopped its influence from kind of growing, especially amongst the the pseudoscience resurgence of Hancock and von Daniken and stuff like that. This was written back in when was this? The 20s, maybe before. I can't remember. But anyway, it's kind of given right. It was still like it was one of the initial kind of lost civilization books, where we can't trust ancient peoples because they weren't smart and white kind of thing, and it's weird. I've read about half of it. I think it gets a bit it's all over the place, man. Churchwood wasn't a writer, and a lot of it is just pure speculation, and none of his stuff, his evidence that he's claimed to have researched, has ever been found. Grain of salt. It's very classed as a cult, which means hidden knowledge, and still hidden. Angela Davis, If They Come in the Morning. I'm a fan of Angela Davis. I haven't read this book though. I got this at the Reverse Garbage in Marrickville. It's got a wanted poster on the back too, when she was wanted. She's on Democracy Now! Quite regularly, and I love that show. Amy Goodman. This is a 1972 edition of a book originally published in 1971. Haven't read it. Sorry, Miss Davis. I haven't read it yet. I will at some point. But I do like this edition. I do like the wanted poster. Well, I don't like it, but I think it's cool. Angela Davis. David Overson, The Zelator. The Secret Journals of Mark Hidsell. I made it that far into The Zelator. This is a heavy book. I don't know if it was real or what. It's like a supposed biography of a guy named Mark Hidsell, and he was he a magician, a magus, or an initiate? And I couldn't, from the point I read to, I couldn't tell if this was real or fiction. And it's a mammoth book. You're looking at, with footnotes, around about 650 pages. I wanted to get into it way more. It's a heavy book, dude and dudettes and dudes, duderinos. It's a heavy book. I couldn't break through and get into it, but it's full of crazy stuff, like just occult stuff, hidden society stuff. I still see it around. I got this at my friend's bookshop. I see it around every once in a while, not too often. but it is out there in the op shops. Cool book. I wanted to get into it more. Maybe I should. I'll put it on the TBR pile. TBR. To be read pile. Again, but that pile's just out of control. What can you do? You can't read everything. Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Got this at the Salvos and Vinnie's in Marrickville. It's a cool Granada edition with Ralph Steadman's illustrations from 1979. I read this book way before I got this edition. I think I read it back when I was at university. Awesome book. Great film. And yeah, I'm happy I got this edition. I like this edition. Philip K. Dick. I love a bit of Dick in my brain. This is Blade Runner, or Do Androids Dream of Electric Sleep? I don't think I've ever read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. First published in 1968. This is, of course, the tie-in to the who directed Blade Runner? Was it Ridley Scott? Yes. Blade Runner is a film that kind of I didn't really like it for the longest time. I didn't gel with it, and I saw it again probably about 5 or 6 years ago, like a remastered edition. It was beautiful. It was amazing to look at, but it still just didn't grab me the way it's grabbed other people. But a very well done film, and I do like it a lot more than I used to. Never read the book. This is a obviously, like, must be a 1982 or 83 edition. Doesn't say. But that's when the movie came out, so that's when that one is. And last but not least, in this edition of the Busted Ass paperback edition, Michael Moorcock, The Life and Times of Jerry Cornelius. Haven't read this, just got it, it's in the collection. Jerry Cornelius I was turned on to by Grant Morrison's The Invisibles. Loved that comic book series, and Michael Moorcock was a massive influence on it. Have I read any Moorcock books? Yeah, I've read one of his ones about that guy, the prince. He's got white hair and red eyes or something. He's got a special sword. Can't remember his name. I haven't read this. I want to read some more Moorcock. I've got a bunch in my collection, and I just haven't read any. But I like the cover. It's a pretty cool cover. It is a Futura edition from 1976. So it's older than me. And it's in pretty good condition. It's got a bit of crease in the middle, but yeah, that's cool. Do you like it? Want to read it? If you read any Jerry Cornelius books, let me know. Send me a message, put it in the comments down below. Any questions about any of the books today, or just want to say hi, hit me up in the comments. Always open to communicating with whoever's watching. Hope you have a good day. Thanks for tuning in to One Foot of Books, the Busted Ass paperback edition ongoing series. I'll be back next week with another 30 centimeters or 1 foot of books. Hope you have a great week, and yeah, take it easy out there. Read more books.